Today on the My Shirt is a Bit Louder Than Usual Says Drew Says podcast, I will be talking more about YouTube's attempt to break into podcasting and a few other things as well, so go ahead and stick around. Alright, we are only going to be discussing one piece of news this week, and again, it has to do with YouTube, and it has to do with podcasting. On last week's episode, which was episode 340, I discussed how confusing YouTube's move into podcasting was. The reason for the confusion is they announced they were going to be rolling out ad-supported background play of podcasts on the YouTube Music app. That doesn't sound confusing on the face of it, but once you dive a little bit deeper, you come up with some questions, such as, how will podcasters be compensated for ads being placed on their shows? Or secondly, if a show is not advertiser-friendly and background play is supported via ads, will controversial non-advertiser-friendly shows lack the background play functionality? Well, after getting a comment and diving a little bit deeper and finding some help articles, I understand a bit more. Up on the screen, I will have a screenshot from a YouTube support article, as well as a GIF which illustrates how you use this new feature. Currently, it appears there is a handful of content creators on YouTube who have the ability to create a podcast on the platform. Not only that, you can mark an existing playlist as a podcast, and once you've done that, you will need to add the podcast show title, you would need to add a podcast description, and the square podcast artwork. Once you have done that, now your show will be available in the YouTube Music app under podcasts. That is, of course, once the YouTube Music app rolls out podcasts. I don't have my phone here, but I downloaded YouTube Music, and there's no podcasts yet. So the feature is not live. But once the feature is live, that is how they will populate the podcasts on the app. It is not currently pulling any RSS shows. It is just pulling existing video podcasts from YouTube, which have been marked as podcasts. Then I found a bit more information, and this comes from Hot Pod News. It was a summary of the convention they had, and this comes from Steve McClendon, who is the Google product lead for podcasting. What he said, the team is working on integrating RSS into the platform. At launch, though, the platform is essentially just enabling a better consumption experience for existing video podcasts. So for the time being, YouTube rolling out podcasting means pretty much nothing for the average podcaster because the vast majority of podcasters are audio first. The vast majority of podcasters distribute their episodes via RSS. Google Music, YouTube Music, does not allow for that right now. It does not have that integrated. It will not have that integrated at launch. The entire announcement, this entire big hullabaloo, is all about, oh, now you can watch a YouTube video with background play if it has a little box checked. And you'll have to watch ads to get that. That makes it sound so much less exciting, and it is a lot less exciting. Maybe once the RSS integration rolls out, it will be more exciting because now somebody who uses YouTube Music can listen to any audio podcast. Although that's not really exciting because there are dozens, if not hundreds of apps that already allow you to do that. I guess the difference between the YouTube Music experience and Overcast, Pocket Casts, any typical podcatcher, the difference would be with a podcatcher, you only get audio or video podcasts that actually have an RSS that distribute the video file to you, while the YouTube Music would allow you to watch and listen to a YouTube video alongside all your RSS subscriptions. I'm not sure if that is really worth anybody switching over. We'll have to wait and see once it does roll out. Also, once they do roll out the integration, then they will have to address those issues that I brought up last week. How will they compensate podcasters if they place an ad on an MP3? How will they moderate the content of those podcasters who are distributing their audio via RSS? Or will they allow audio background play without any ads? We'll have to wait and see. And I want to preemptively address something. I know there are plenty of people who are listening to this who will point out the people uploading their videos to YouTube are not releasing podcasts. Those are long-form video. Where is their RSS feed? I want their audio. RSS feed. I want their video. RSS feed. These are not podcasts. Technically, that is correct. Technically, you are correct. These are not podcasts because they do not have RSS feeds, and a podcast requires an RSS feed, not multiple feeds. So we can shake our fists at the sky. Ah, darn you all to heck. You're the worst. I hate you, podcasters. You're not podcasters. You're a thorn in my side. What does that saying come from? But we need to understand, for the average consumer, they don't care. Long-form spoken word content, long-form interviews, and podcasts are interchangeable terms. They are synonymous. About 6 months ago, I did a show talking about a survey that indicated that YouTube was the most popular way to listen to or view podcasts. And I got a bit of pushback from, I think it was Rob Greenlee, who works at Libsyn, and he was on The Feed. And he was saying, that's not true because what is being consumed on YouTube is not a podcast. There is no RSS feed that is video. And if you're just uploading a static image along with your audio, that doesn't do well. All of that is technically correct. All of that is absolutely true. Static image, audio, not going to do very well. No RSS feed, not technically a podcast. But once we view this from the average consumer's perspective, what are podcasts? Long-form spoken word content, long-form interviews. What are actual podcasts? Typically, long-form audio, spoken word content, long-form interviews. So if the average consumer is saying, I consume the most podcasts on YouTube, what they're saying is, I consume the most long-form spoken word content on YouTube. Now, since podcasts are long-form spoken word content, and the audience, the most number of people consuming that type of content are on YouTube, shouldn't you want to be there? Shouldn't you want to create that video version of your show and upload it to YouTube? If you don't want to, don't do it. If you only enjoy making audio content, just do the audio content. But if your goal is trying to get in front of as many people as possible to grow your audience, and the largest number of people consuming long-form spoken word content is YouTube, makes sense to me to want to be there. I understand this is completely off topic and a bit of a tangent. This is just something that I have been meaning to address and talk about for maybe 6 months at this point. When the Feed episode came out, somebody sent it to me and said, Rob's talking about you on the show. And I responded to that person and I said, yeah, I pretty much agree with everything he's saying. If you're uploading static images of podcasts, it's not going to do well on YouTube. I agree with that. And technically, they're not podcasts. So I agree with that. I just wanted to finally talk about that because it kind of fits in here. So to go back to the actual focus of the show, as far as the real-world experience with marking a playlist as a podcast, creating a podcast on YouTube, or listening to podcasts or YouTube videos in the background of YouTube music, I don't have access to any of it. The Bandrew Says podcast, Podcastage, none of my channels have the ability to mark anything as a podcast. And as I mentioned earlier, podcasts have yet to be rolled out on YouTube Music. Something I was a bit surprised by. I went to youtube.com/podcasts today because I was thinking, oh, maybe there's some information about joining the podcast program. Maybe there's some information there. And as I was scrolling down, keep in mind, I had trashed YouTube podcasts when this was announced because I can't imagine anybody would ever just think, I want a podcast. I'm going to go to youtube.com/podcasts. I was scrolling down, and whose ugly mug did I see? Mine. Why was that there? That was very shocking to see. And then I refreshed the page a number of times. I went to different browsers, tried it again, and I realized, first off, as I already mentioned, none of my videos, none of my channels are able to be marked as podcasts. So the youtube.com/podcasts page is pulling in content that is not marked podcasts and presenting it as podcasts. And secondly, the headers that they're pulling in under and the videos they're recommending are based solely on you. It is a recommendation based on your viewing experience as opposed to some kind of moderated selection. It's not Apple Podcast New and Noteworthy or whatever. It is purely algorithm based, and it's not just podcasts, because the videos that were recommended were under audio equipment discussions, I think. What did it say? Audio equipment. And they recommended 5 things to avoid when buying audio equipment and Podcastage's favorite audio gear of 2022. Neither of those are podcasts, yet there they were on the podcasts page. I don't understand still. I'm a bit confused. Now that I understand it a bit more, cool, I kind of get it. I will understand 100% when people say, that's not podcasting, because it's not. It's just a slightly different way to listen to a YouTube video. Does that really deserve the fanfare that it's getting? I don't think so. It's not very exciting at all. You can listen to a video in the background. Cool, guys. So that's really all the news. I will link a few articles in the episode notes. The support article on creating a podcast on YouTube, the Hot Pod News summary, and the YouTube podcasts homepage. Now let's jump to what I have been testing. That turned into kind of like a fanfare, like a bugle. You have been listening to it. That's what I was trying to do, but it turned into a trumpet. I am recording with the Rode NT1 5th Gen. I should start that over. I don't have the time. I'm not going to because now it's 4:01 p.m. This is way too late to be recording. I am using this via the USB output. That is right, a USB version of the NT1. I was running XLR for the last week and a half, and then figured, hey, let's go ahead and give the main reason for this microphone a try, and that would be, this offers 32-bit floating point. That means you can not really clip it. I don't know if you technically can ever clip it. Maybe if you overdrive the capsule. But as far as the converters, you should not be able to clip it. Let me tell you a story. The reason I'm recording this at 4:02 p.m., I recorded this in Audio Hijack, which has a 32-bit option. And then I did a test during the what you had to say, what I have been testing section, only to realize, oh, I can't salvage that. I think the issue is Audio Hijack is likely using 32-bit fixed point. So now I am using Reaper. I am not happy about this. I am really displeased. I use Logic Pro 10. I have been using that DAW for over a decade. I know it. I know how to use it. It is simple, straightforward. It's the bee's knees, but it is fixed at 24-bit. If you drop a 32-bit file in there, it converts it down to 24-bit fixed. So I had to install Reaper because I had bought it in the past. Now I am recording directly into Reaper. I am risking it. This is risky behavior, recording into a fully fledged DAW. And I will demonstrate why 32-bit floating point is so popular. In my headphones, this will be clipping. Oh my god, this is so gosh darn loud. Whoa! But in post-production, that was actually very loud and it kind of hurt. I will be able to normalize that, or I should be able to normalize that, and it will not be clipping, it will not be distorting, and I will be a happy camper. That is why I am recording so damn late, because I wanted to get it right. You may be wondering, Bandrew, why do you have headphones on? Because the NT1 5th Gen has no headphone port. I have Rode Connect open, and I am outputting Rode Connect to my Universal Audio X8. And the latency is low enough that it's not speech jamming me, which is pretty impressive. Pretty good! All right, that's what I have been testing. I should note, this was sent to me by Rode free of charge so that I can review it. They don't get any input on what I do. I could throw this out a window, I could spit on it. I'm not going to do that because I'm not a jerk, and that would be stupid. I want to be able to use it, but I could spit on, I could throw it across the room. Actually, no, I'm not gonna, I won't do that. Okay. Nobody thought I was actually going to do that. Come on. All right, let's jump to what you had to say. We have very few comments this last week. I don't know what it was. The comments were halved from the prior week. Normally we get 30 plus comments. Last week we had 18. The views weren't halved, just the comments. Something funky's going on with YouTube. We need to talk about Steve. Damn you, what is that from? Oh, we need to talk about Kevin. What a disturbing movie. Okay, completely off topic rambling. This is not okay. Emmanuel Sanchez says, why are you not on Spotify? Only a few episodes. Emmanuel, thank you very much for the comment. My show is on Spotify, and it is updated regularly. There's something funky that happens with RSS feeds. Maybe I submitted the show twice, maybe not. Maybe it scraped the internet, found a show, pulled in some old RSS feed. I have no idea. But there are multiple feeds of my show in Spotify. One of them updates very irregularly, maybe once every 6 months, maybe once every year, and it seems like the show is dead. The second feed updates every single time a new show comes out. In the past, I did have an issue with Spotify. That was, I upload my show as M4A to my podcast host, and Spotify apparently requires MP3. So for a little bit of time, my show wasn't updating. My show was being rejected. No new episodes were posting because my audio files were M4A. Spotify doesn't recognize M4A, so nothing was posting. So I contacted customer support for my podcast host, and they initiated some way to convert my M4A to MP3 for Spotify. So now the show should be live, it should be updated regularly, and I will go ahead and link the feed URL in the description and episode notes in case you want to listen there. Maybe I should have held out. Joe Rogan got so much money. I mean, if he got $100 million, how much do you think this show is worth? At least a couple thousand, right? Spotify, I should have held out and said, Spotify, give me a couple grand and I will put my show on you. I will put my show in you, Spotify. Give me a couple $1,000s to do it. But no. I just said, oh, you can do that, so I'll just throw it over there. Damn me for not wanting to or caring about earning money off this show. Curse you, Bandrew. I could have been a thousandaire. Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel Sanchez, for sending in the question. I very much appreciate you. That is it for the questions and what you had to say. Let us now jump to the Ask Bandrew segment, my favorite part of this show. Welcome to the Ask Bandrew segment, the segment where you ask Bandrew, who is he, who is me, and I answer you, who is questionnaire submitter. If you want to ask something, go to askbandrew.com, askbandrew.com, askbandrew.com. There are instructions on how to send in audio, video, and text. I do prefer audio and video because when you send that in, you get a break from hearing me read. I get a break from having to read. We get to hear how you sound on your equipment. You get a break from hearing me strain and scream into a microphone, and that's just a beautiful thing for everybody involved. AskBandrew.com. We have one submission this week, which is the last one we have, so please send some in. This comes from I'll Be Danged as I smile, and it makes it sound like some kind of disgusting mouth noise monster is existing in this room. Take it away, I'll Be Danged.
Hey, Bandrew, it's your pal, I'll Be Danged. I had a question, though. I was, I do the gear thing where I think I got to get a new microphone to make everything sound better. But honestly, if I think about it and I listen to it, I am actually really happy with the sound I have currently. So thank you for the suggestions and everything. But I got a question about soundproofing a room. I have a 8 foot by 10 foot room. Honestly, I think instead of buying a new mic, the thing that could help me out more than any of that would be getting sound treatment. So let me tell you what I've got right now. I've got 2 moving blankets. I've got a bunch of those little Amazon special, really thin sound absorber things. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. You get like 50 for $10 or something. And I've got a rug. It's the dude's rug. It really ties the room together. But if I was I'll give you 2 different budgets. If I had $100 and I had $300, what would you suggest for each of them? I mean, I could ask Google. I could. But I'd rather ask you. You've got a lot more experience with this, and you're a person. You're not a Google. And I hope you're having a wonderful time there, Bandrew. It's your pal, I'll Be Danged, and I'll be seeing you.
I'll Be Danged. Thank you very much for the voice submission. I really do appreciate it. You went over the limit. You went over the limit of 90 seconds, but I'll allow it. Because I don't feel like editing. And I get what you're doing. You're sticking up a middle finger and saying, screw you, man, I'm fighting the system. And now I'm just realizing that I'm the system. This is not a good feeling. The punk lived long enough to become the system of oppressor. Oppressant. Jeez Louise. Maybe this person doesn't have a brain that's functioning, so obviously they cannot be an oppressor. They cannot run a system of oppression. I rule with an iron fist. If you submit an audio submission, I will include it. Okay, I'm rambling and I've lost everybody. The question is, you have an 8 by 10 room and instead of buying a new microphone, you want to invest in audio treatment. What would I recommend at $100 or $300? You did send a follow-up and you said, crank it up to $500. Both options are going to be the same. Build your own panels. That is going to be the most economical, and that will likely be the most effective. I would recommend using something called Owens Corning 703. That's what Sound Speeds, that's what Booth Junkie use in their panels and sound treatment. And Booth Junkie has a video demonstrating how you DIY some sound panels. Personally, I don't have a workshop, I don't have tools, I don't have a space to build stuff, so I am lazy, and I bought pre-made panels that aren't the most effective. They are fairly effective. I use Automute sound blankets to cover windows, and I use Automute sound panels to cover the walls. They are a lot more expensive, and they aren't going to be as effective as 3.5 inches of this Owens Corning 703 insulation. Booth Chunky is actually publishing shorts about this topic right now because he is building out his sound studio right now. And he was talking about, if you have the space, if you have the ability, have an air gap behind the insulation wall. Insulation wall, air gap, then the actual physical wall of the building. And that will make the sound treatment, the sound panels, the insulation significantly more effective. So I will link 2 things in the show notes, episode notes, and description, the Booth Chunky video, and a link to Owens Corning 703 so you could research it. I have no idea if this website sells it, just purely for research purposes. That is pretty much it for this episode. I did receive another email from somebody saying, hey, I have somebody who's really loud above me. How should I record them? How can I record them? And my response is, hey neighbor, whatever you're doing is extremely loud and it's distracting while I'm trying to work down there. During these times, can you keep it down? That would be amazing. Instead of tattling on them, have a conversation with them. Get to know them. Hey, I have a sleeping baby. They take naps at this time. Can you not make noise? I'm sure the neighbor would say, yeah, absolutely. I don't want to wake up your baby. Sure, absolutely. I'll work with you on this. When did we get to a place in this world where you can't have a conversation with somebody? You just go to tattling on them. That's just bonkers to me. I have heard people playing drum sets in apartment complexes, and I didn't rat them out. Because why would I? Who gives a crap? Maybe if you have a sleeping baby, it's different. They were full on playing drums for like 30 minutes. Shakes the whole building. Did I tattle on them? No. Did I even go knock on their door? No. It's 30 minutes out of my day. Who cares? So my response is, sure, you could buy a microphone, record the sound that they're making, then go tattle, rat them out to the apartment manager or the landlord and get them evicted. Or you could just, hey, can you not make noise during these hours because I need a peace and quiet to get work done? Hey, I need to be up at 6 a.m. for a meeting. Can you turn it down a little bit? If you've had those conversations and they ignore them, then go ahead and go down the tattletale route. And but other than that, I just don't like the idea of, oh, I'm going to record on you and tattle on you. I don't like that. Okay, that is it for this episode. I appreciate you coming by and listening to this shorter episode. It is now 4:18. It's almost 4:20. For all those people out there who partake, I hope you enjoy it. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you. I love you so much. You are the greatest human being that has ever existed. Thank you so much. All right, what was that? I don't know what that was. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.